It was the 2000s in Seoul, South Korea, where inside a large building we see an empty room with a faint light coming out, and the television screen was showing a breaking news that the shareholder meeting to determine the chairman of one of the top 3 conglomerates in the country, named Samjeon, has just concluded after 13 hours. And after an intense meeting, the next chairman of the group has been decided as CEO John. We see that the room was booked by none other than John himself, who was looking at himself in the TV, where the announcer reported to everyone that unlike other third-generation chairmen who stepped down due to scandals or pure management, John, on the other hand, was having a clear record. Hearing that, the boy started laughing like someone who had achieved everything in his life, wanting the announcer to praise him even more, because now he was the king of the biggest company in whole Korea. But only he knew about how hard he worked for this moment, because he was making himself the best, not just in literacy, but also in sports, along with studying abroad, while also keeping his stupid siblings in line and cleaning up after his uncle, with taking care of his wife from an arranged marriage arrangement. He had done it all perfectly till now. But the most difficult of them all was to maintain a meticulously crafted public image, which was plausible to the newer generation, making him absolutely perfect for them. And after doing so much, it was only natural that John will become the owner of the company. And as it was a new beginning, the boy took out his expensive phone and decided to clean out all the old filth, including all the underlings who had caused him nothing but problems. But suddenly, John was in shock as he felt his heart pounding and his phone slipped away. He wondered about what was happening, and suddenly his heart started throbbing as he cannot breathe properly. Looking at the picture of his grandfather, he was shocked, while he remembered that even his grandfather, who was the founder of the company, had died from an heart attack, and now same thing was happening to John too. He was not able to comprehend that after doing everything so perfectly, he was so close to reaping all the rewards. But something as pathetic as a heart attack has taken his life away. But just after an instant, John started listening strange and different voices, who were calling out to their son. As the boy opened his eyes, he saw a young couple who was holding a cute baby in their hand while calling him Ryuk. The boy took a moment to understand about what was happening to him, and as he started pinching his own cheeks, he realized that he was inside a few months old crybaby who always peed his pant and sat inside it whenever it wanted. The boy started crying all of a sudden, shocking his parents, and as the scene shifts, we come inside a run-down one-room apartment, where Ryuk was prepared like a pretty boy, wearing a yellow-colored baby bodysuit and a matching pacifier to stop him from crime. Looking at their newborn child, the young couple was almost dying from cuteness, and how adorable the boy was. Ryuk's mother realized that their child was really handsome from the moment he was born, and even most of the celebrity babies were not cuter than him. We come to know that Ryuk's mother and father were only 21 and 23 years old respectively, and they thought that their child was a lucky baby who was going to do some great stuff in his family. At first, Ryuk was really happy listening his appraisal, but then he realized that nothing was great about it, and he wanted to go back to his older self. He immediately threw away his pacifier and started grunting at his father while he cried profusely, realizing that his perfect body that was 183 centimeters tall and 75 kilograms in weight was now gone, along with all his records of lifting 500 kilograms in all the big 3 exercises. Now all that John has left in his new life was a puny body which was nothing in comparison. Even when he was born into a great family with a fit body and perfect specs, becoming the king of the biggest company, he was reduced to this run-down one-room apartment with a young couple who were not so well off, and making their child wear old and second-hand clothes. We come to know that Ryuk's parents were a young orphan couple in their 20s, and they were having no inheritance at all. Ryuk wanted to enjoy his favorite wine, which costed over 4 million won per bottle. But now he had only formula milk, which was of cheap quality. Just then, Ryuk's mom started calling out to the baby, telling him that it was now his feeding time, and even when Ryuk disliked the milk all of a sudden, his baby instincts took over and he started chugging all the milk in one go. We come to know about the first thing inside a baby's body, which was that it cannot resist milk even if it is some cheap formula milk. Ryuk finished the whole bottle and started burping while his mother was happy that her child was eating well and was such a good boy. And looking at his cuteness, his father started kissing him. This disgusted Ryuk more than anything. But he knew that his tiny hands are tied, and he cannot do anything. He was still not over his previous life, collapsing on the best day and becoming a baby, which was clearly absurd. And this was not the major problem, too, because the hardest thing to adapt to was the two people he was living with, who were being overly friendly and affectionate, which was really cringy for him. Because the feeling of parents was so new for John, who did not know anything about love, because his original parents were always running away from him handling the business and giving all responsibilities to the smaller John, also telling him to take care of his siblings, giving him the reasoning that as the eldest, he should at least do that much. Looking at the evil face of his younger sibling, reopened his eyes once again, and started crying profusely, even when he did not want to. But his father thought that maybe he was getting sleepy after eating. This was absurd for the boy who wondered about how he can possibly be asleep. But there comes the second rule of a baby's body, and it was that it cannot resist sleep no matter what. And so, Ryuk decided to worry about everything after he wakes up. Meanwhile, Ryuk's father decided that the mother should also have rest, while he will make some dinner. Even when the lady wanted to help her husband, he denied and told her to just rest along with watching some TV. And for that, the man turned his rundown TV on, where the news started flashing, and the announcer announced that the company's chairman, Justin, had got caught in the Apple Box bribery scandal, and allegations of bribery has been raised against the man following the events, and investigation was conducted at the prosecutor's office, and the chairman appeared in person for helping in the investigation. Hearing this, Ryuk opened his eyes and immediately sat up, wanting to know about what was happening to his previous grandfather. This shocked the mother to the core, while she asked her husband if he saw the boy suddenly waking up. But on the other hand, John was shocked to see his grandfather, who had already passed away, to be alive and well. Listening to the lady screaming, Ryuk's father also came into the living room, looking at him who was watching TV as the news was still flashing that his grandfather was doing a conference, and this was so shocking for the boy that he kept crawling towards the TV even more and started getting flashbacks of his memory of the year when he turned 10, remembering that his grandfather has ended up in court for bribing some big people with boxes of apples. And those who feared the growing company criticized it as a dirty move that resorted to bribery. But according to John, this was all nonsense, because if money was power, then connections, according to him, were superpowers. And the people who naively think that they can become rich by saving money are just fools, which included his new parents, who were having the thinking of only poor couples. But this was not in their mind at all, and they were just happy by the fact that their Ryuk had started crawling all of a sudden. The child started remembering that the day his grandfather appeared before prosecutors. He had the young John, who was just a 10-year-old and was pushing his wheelchair. It was all a staged act to evoke public sympathy. But for John, it was like a debut, because it was the day that he showed the world that he would be the next in line of handling the multi-billionaire company. But now, instead of John, it was his greedy younger sibling who was wheeling the wheelchair, and due to John becoming Ryuk, he was never born in that rich family, and instead of him, his younger sibling went abroad claiming to study. In his previous life, the young brother was just stupid and indulged himself with girls and money. But now he was having the same position, as John himself realized that becoming a baby wasn't even the main problem anymore, and the bigger thing was that he had come to the past, resulting in him going to lose his destiny, his position, and everything else along with it. and knowing that was hurting the most, and Ryuk started crying like crazy. As the scene shifts, it was the night and Ryuk's mom called out to him, telling him that she had brought some apple juice for her child, but Ryuk slapped the hand of the lady away, while muttering to not interfere, looking at the TV continuously. But as he was unable to speak, the lady did not understand about what was happening. She wondered if she was raising her child wrong, and just at that moment Ryuk's father came in, telling his wife that his boss has gave him some leftover meat, and they were having a party today. We come to know that the man was a chef at a pork hawk restaurant, so getting some leftover food was common for him. But the lady was not at all happy, pointing towards Ryuk and telling the man that the baby was still watching TV, while his whole face was becoming pale due to not sleeping properly, and instead of watching cartoons or anime, he was only watching news, which was a weird behavior for his age. And even when Ryuk's mother tried to turn the TV off or change the channel, the baby started crying. At first, the man thought that he can handle his son pretty well and started acting all goofy around him, telling Ryuk that he should stop watching TV and they should play together. But the boy grabbed the adult's hand and started glaring at him ferociously, as if trying to tell him to get out of the way. The man realized that he had lost and got near his wife once again, while Ryuk started watching the TV, thinking that he did not have time for such nonsense, because he must gather as much useful information as he can about how he can return to his original body and claim whatever was his. But now, the man was getting angry at his son, telling him that it was enough, and as he had not eaten all day, he needed to rest. The lady grabbed her child and started calming him down, while he was crying profusely, wanting to know about how things were unfolding. After all the effort that he had put in to secure his position as the new hire of the company, he was going to lose everything to someone like his younger sibling, and he wanted to return to his rightful place. But not knowing the reason for the crying of the small child, his mother just started patting him on the back, trying to make him fall asleep, telling him that she will turn on the TV tomorrow and he can watch all he wanted. All of a sudden, sleep filled the baby's mind, while he wondered about why he was getting dumber and his emotions were all over the place, as he was not able to think even for a whole sentence. But still, whenever the woman in front of him pats him on the back, he felt relaxed and unknowingly falls asleep. We see that now. Ryuk was sleeping like a cute child, and both the parents were now worried for him, wondering about why this strange behavior was suddenly occurring in their child, and his mother was really afraid, because Ryuk was almost 1 year old and he still hasn't said his first words. He was always fixated on the news, and the lady was anxious that she might be raising her child wrongly, and this showed that she was an arrogant mother. Ryuk's father realized about how stressed the lady was, hugging her along with the baby, telling her that she was doing everything like a professional, and even if she does some kind of mistake, the love of her for their child was genuine, and there was nothing wrong with it. The man knew that Ryuk was going to grow up really well and do some great things in life, and for that, they will have to keep believing in him. A few days later, we see that the boy was out of energy, finally realizing that watching TV all day was of no use because he had been watching the news for days, overcoming all sorts of interruptions. And even when he pretended to sleep, he used to watch the news secretly by biting the hands of both his parents for letting him watch it. But still, he hadn't gained anything useful, and the world keeps turning around as if nothing happened. But for him, he was still trapped inside the baby's body, who was so low on energy and always wanted to eat. Meanwhile, his mother was shocked, wondering about why her child was not watching news today, deciding that they should go for a walk together so that he gets some fresh air while she will buy some side dishes in the market. And then they will look at the beautiful flowers on their way back, because the weather was so nice. Even Ryuk started looking all around, being fascinated by the smallest things, even when he knew that he had saw them before. But suddenly, a feminine voice caught his attention, and as he turned around, he saw that his mother and the landlady of their house were talking with each other, while the house owner told the lady that she had some business in the morning, so he was leaving a bit late for buying the vegetables. The house owner was a calm woman with a composed look and really long eyelashes, while Ryuk's mother wished her a good day and kept going on her way. Ryuk was not able to comprehend about how the building owner was such a young woman, but he decided to pay it. No mind as both mother and son started going for shopping. As the scene shifts to an old construction site, Ryuk's mother was happy that they were finally at the marketplace, because the bean sprouts at that place were 101 cheaper, and due to the sale, the lady decided that she will make fresh bean sprouts soup for her husband. All this excitement was making Ryuk annoyed because all he ever got to drink was formula milk. But suddenly, the boy noticed that 2 heavy bars of metal started falling down in the construction site, and before the boy can do anything, they fell down onto her mother, gravely wounding her while she grabbed her baby, trying to save him with all her might. As the dust and debris started clearing, the baby was able to hear his landowner, who wanted the lady to stay with her while she called out an ambulance. But the wounds were so deep that the lady was getting unconscious, only telling her son that she will protect him no matter what. Ryuk was shaking, not able to comprehend about what was happening, wondering if his mom would die even before he gets older. As the scene shifts, we come inside the emergency local hospital, where the construction staff and workers were screaming at the nurse that they have got an emergency patient. The worker told the doctor that the lady has injured her head after being hit by falling materials at a construction site, and the staff decided to begin the surgery immediately, and looking at the report, the doctor was shocked. We don't get to know what it is, but slowly and surely, after some time, the lady opened her eyes, looking around her and realizing that her husband was in front of her. The man was so worried that he immediately grabbed the lady, asking her if she was feeling all right. But Ryuk's mom did not care about anything else, but her baby, wondering about where he was. The man was a bit surprised that the lady did not care about him at all, telling her that Ryuk was right there near her blanket, crying profusely for his mother. The man thanked his wife for protecting their child, and due to her, he was safe and sound, but he was really scared since he saw his mom getting hurt. The lady immediately grabbed Ryuk, telling him that there was nothing to worry, but she knew that the baby must have been scared, thinking that his mom is gravely injured. She grabbed the boy near her and looked at him with affection, getting happy that nothing happened to him at all. After having a good look at his mom, Ryuk started crying again, hugging the lady and not letting her go. Deep inside, Ryuk was really scared because the lady did not even care about her own life and saved the child even when she can really die. But both the parents smiled at their child, realizing that they should let him cry his heart out. But suddenly, the lady looked around her and saw that she was in a private room, and it was a rather expensive one. Hearing that, the man started blushing, but he tried to hide it, even when the lady knew that her condition was not that serious. She was told by her husband that she absolutely needed to rest, because there were times when they have to be extra careful. Just then, the shocking news was revealed that Ryuk's mother was pregnant once again, and she was carrying Ryuk's younger sibling. Getting this news, the lady was happy and shocked at the same time. But the man told her to just recover and be comfortable for a week. He got close to her wife, kissing her forehead and telling goodbye. But their cute moment was interrupted by the nurse, who told the man that his visiting hours were almost over. Ryuk's father immediately got away from his wife, telling the nurse that he will be out in a jiffy. He promised the lady that he will come back tomorrow and grab their son away from his mom, even when he did not want to go, because he wanted the lady to get plenty of rest without any disturbance. As the scene shifts, we see that both father and son were going to their home. But even when there was a bus which commutes near their house, the man did not have enough money to pay for the ticket. So even when his shoes were completely torn, he decided to walk instead. Ryuk realized that his new father was not having enough money to get home, and they were going to get a sibling in this situation. But he was a dad who works hard every day to support his family, and did not hesitate in working overtime. And this time, Ryuk even had a mom who would risk her life for him, not caring about herself at all. Realizing that, Ryuk decided to do something shocking and started calling out to the man as Dad. Hearing the first words of his child, the man was head over heels, while Ryuk decided to shift his attention to his new parents because they were his family now, and whatever happened before was not going to affect him from then on. The scene shifts to 1 week later, where the whole family was having a feast because it was Ryuk's birthday, along with the celebration of his mom's safe discharge from the hospital. We see that the boy, who was 1 year old now and was wearing a cute kimono and posing like some kind of an emperor, making both his parents blush, while Ryuk's mother complimented him, telling her husband that they have indeed produced an adorable child who was capable of rivaling even the celebrity babies. He was looking so flawless that it was perfect like a little jewel. But all those affectionate remarks were not working for Ryuk, who was continuously getting flashed from his parents' cameras. He started screaming in his baby voice, not able to believe that they were doing a party, because he knew that his parents have struggled to pay hospital bills and even saved on their bus fare, and still they did not have enough money and were barely scraping by. Yet both of them decided to throw a first birthday party for a child, which was not even going to be remembered by him. Ryuk knew that if this was his past life, then he would definitely have scolded them like that. But now he really understood that this was something that cannot be measured by money because Ryuk's new parents were showing him love, and this kind of love was even worth risking their life for. Even when they don't have enough money, they were happy and were doing everything for their child, which was really moving for Ryuk. As his mother called out to her son, he was immediately ready to take a picture together. And during the past week, while his mom was in the hospital, he had made a decision to take action and improve his new parents' life, because realistically, his parents won't be able to escape poverty easily. And just by looking at them, Ryuk knew that they know nothing about investments or future planning. They did not even have extra savings and were just struggling to get by. And in the future, Ryuk was sure that a major economic crisis will hit because he had come from the future himself. And if things go the way he remembered, then it was inevitable. So, he will have to do something before that. But suddenly the doorbell rang and the baby was shocked by the shrilling noise. The lady wondered about who it was, and from the other side of the door, the same calm and feminine voice told her that she was their landlady Kim. Ryuk's mother immediately opened the door and congratulated her for getting discharged, while giving her a proposal, asking her if she had ever thought about letting Ryuk become a child actor. And the turning point which Ryuk wanted was finally there after a few days. His mom was looking at the pamphlet of Child Actor Open Audition, which signified that they were looking for the next generation child star. The lady was finally at the audition venue, and according to Ryuk, it was decent enough. But to his surprise, his mom was really shaking to the core, wondering if she did make a mistake to come at the place. But Ryuk was really getting angry at her, because this was a golden opportunity for him. The lady calmed down, deciding to just go in, and we get the flashback of a few days ago, when the landlady came and asked her if she would let Ryuk become a child actor, as the landlady's company recently took on a big corporation's TV commercial, and they are holding auditions for an important child role. Kim knew that Ryuk was adorable along with being talented, so she wanted his parents to show initiative and let him do the auditions. The scene shifts back to the present, where Ryuk was smiling devilishly, and the lady wondered about what devil thoughts the boy was having while she started going through the elevator. We come to know that the adult mind of John was speaking instead of the baby Ryuk, as he thought that some people were just meant to succeed no matter what. He realized that this was his chance to make money while he was laughing hysterically, knowing that his family was going to be rich once again. In his previous life, John was surrounded by cameras ever since he was a little boy, and doing makeup and camera work was just basic stuff for him. He even knew that his left profile looked better on screen, and that is why people used to call him a legendary individual who could easily be an actor, but still decided to be a CEO. He knew that he will breeze through the audition and sweep up all the prize money and guarantees. Meanwhile, the lady was still looking at her son, wondering about why he was making some distorted faces. Ryuk was sure that he will win the money and reinvest, but his train of thoughts was suddenly stopped by the voice of an elderly lady who asked Ryuk's mother if she was not going to get on the lift as the door was already open. The lady calmed down, telling the elderly that she should go ahead first. We come to know that the elderly lady was just a caretaker for the baby of an arrogant female who was in a hurry, and this audition was just in her way, but she still cannot stop being greedy and decided to use her child for fame. On the other hand, Ryuk was really getting annoyed by the female, making angry faces while the female's kid was just acting like a normal child, being fascinated by someone of his age. Ryuk's mother thought that the old lady was the baby's mother instead, telling her that her baby was so pretty, but the old lady told her that the newborn was her young master. But suddenly, the arrogant female wanted Ryuk's mother to not talk to her so casually, because she thought that as Ryuk's mother was also in for the audition, she was trying to scout out the competition and know their weaknesses. Even before the mother could speak, the lady taunted her, telling her that no matter how hard she tried, the female's son was going to win, and this hurt the ego of Ryuk, who was a natural camera person since his previous life. Ryuk started making a fierce face, and the female was completely intimidated, wondering about what was wrong with him. On the other hand, Ryuk was sure that the arrogant female was just looking down on him, and as she was wrapped in luxury brands, she thought that she can buy everything just because she was rich. According to Ryuk, the arrogant female was a typical rich family madame. Suddenly, Ryuk became Sang Jin-woo, deciding to defeat the arrogant female no matter what. As the scene shifts, we come to the place where the audition was held, and the announcer called out to child number 8 for shooting her side profile. A calm lady called out to the girl, telling her to look at the camera, and she peeked at the camera with curiosity as they recorded her for inspection. Meanwhile, Ryuk's mother was looking at everything, thinking that it was not looking easy at all. But on the other hand, Ryuk knew that what they were doing was just a simple camera test, checking out if the child was looking good on screen, or if they can even handle the continuous recording along with doing some basing acting when they are told to. But with the hot lights and unfamiliar space, it was really getting tough for the babies to handle the situation. Ryuk's thoughts were suddenly interrupted as the announcer called out to child number 10, who was none other than Lee, the child of the arrogant female he had encountered. Even when the announcer knew the arrogant lady and greeted her with respect, as soon as Lee got to the audition spot, he started crying, not able to handle the lights. The announcer told the lady that it was hard to continue like this, but the lady was so arrogant that she was not ready to move, telling her that her child was going to stop crying soon and they should wait for it. Even when the announcer, who was also the assistant director, told her that there were other kids waiting behind the arrogant one, she thought that she was the only one in the whole world who deserved attention, telling everyone to wait for her child to stop crying, but suddenly, a masculine voice came and rang through everyone's ear, calling out to child number 12, who was none other than Ryuk. The arrogant female turned around, wondering about who did it, but as he was the director of the shoot, she was unable to say anything to him while he told the assistant director to escort the rich female and her child outside and calm them down, because the audition will have to proceed no matter what. The arrogant female started making faces, but she knew that she cannot do anything. The director wondered if Ryuk was not present at the scene, but just then, his mom screamed that they were there, and she immediately dropped Ryuk down onto the audition spot. The announcer told him to begin the audition, and his mother was really mesmerized by the thought of Ryuk being in front of the camera. But the arrogant lady was not ready to give up, telling her to move aside because she wanted to see. Knowing that this was the perfect opportunity, Ryuk wanted the lady to keep her eyes open and witness her own defeat, when he shows her exactly why he will succeed and her child Lee won't. Ryuk started acting and smiled so